I'm Steve.
And I'm Les.
And this is another episode of Tabletop Tasting Sip and Play. Les, what did we play?
Today we played Forrest Shuffle.
Yeah.
Forrest Shuffle is such a big game for such a little box. This game really is just a deck of cards. But my oh my, does it ever start to come alive as you start to play these?
It just keeps spreading out.
It does. And essentially what you're doing is you're playing trees. And as you play trees, every tree's got a slot above, below, left, and right of it that you're filling up with creatures and or plants. And what's neat about this game is as you play a card, the card indicates how many cards you have to play into the clearing in order to pay for that card. And then a lot of the abilities end up chaining or granting bonuses if you pay for the card that you've played with the same suit or the same type of card that you have played down. And then you can chain abilities to get cards for free or add other things. But ultimately, all of this is culminating towards the end of game scoring, which once you've revealed 3 winter is coming cards, the game immediately ends, and then you score all the cards at the tops and bottoms of your trees, to the left of the right of your trees, and the trees themselves, and anything that you may have stashed or stored in your cave. Forrest Shuffle is a really enjoyable, thinky, easy to learn game that I really, really enjoy. Steve, what did you think of this game here?
Yeah, I at first I was like, how is this going to play through? But I really enjoyed it. As you kind of get moving along, you kind of start figuring it out. Okay, I'm going to play that tree, but each tree has like a little extra attribute that's going to score you points at the end of the game. I mean, some trees like the birch, I mean, it's just worth a point at the end of the game. But some of them, like the silver fir, is worth points for every animal or insect or whatever you have around the tree. So all the cards around it. So it's kind of, it's actually a lot when you first start, because you're like, oh, it's just like, basically it's a card game. However, there's a lot going on. And you'll find yourself, like I did, holding on to cards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you can see that the guy next to you is, you know, he's trying to get
I need
something
a roe
that you
deer
want.
so bad.
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, I found a couple of roe deers, and he's like, I don't have one. You finally found one, which kind of was irritating. And it's kind of neat because once 10 cards gets up top in your clearing, then those get thrown away as well, and that was a little bit part of my strategy as well, which funny enough the first time didn't work out because it got cleared, and then I like
well, sometimes you're like, oh, I want to take those cards so I can pay with those suits to get the bonuses, and then the clearing gets swept and none of that
they're
stuff
gone.
They're gone.
Yeah, and they're gone forever too, right? So, and there's only a few cards of each, of especially of the animals and so on. This is a fun game. It's really kind of interesting. I can't wait to play it again because, so today was my first playthrough of it. I can't wait to play it again because I think I'll switch up my strategy a little bit. I don't have to do a lot because I believe I won.
So it's funny because it is a really high scoring game.
It
like
is,
you're in the hundreds of points.
Yeah.
But I think our final score, I was like, 255 and you were 259.
Yeah.
So even with
pretty close.
as high scoring as it was, there was only a 5-point spread between us, which it was crazy close.
Which is a little bit, it's the only thing that I have kind of against it is it's really hard to know where you're at.
Yeah.
You just really kind of have to keep playing the cards and keep trying to multiply everything that you can multiply.
Which is
just
actually
kind
of nice too, because if you're doing poorly, which I don't know if there's a way to do poorly in this game, but if you are doing poorly, you're not going to know that until final scoring as well, right? So it's kind of nice. Everyone feels like they're on an even level playing field as you're going through.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because you got a couple of cards that allowed you to put stuff into your cave, which is straight up just a point at the end of the game for each card. And I thought, oh, for sure. Like he had 15 or 16 cards in there. I thought, oh, for sure he's got it, but because
it's
that's
a really
15
high scoring game.
But it's a really high scoring game, and you really can just kind of focus on what you're doing and just worry about getting the things that you need to be able to complete your trees and get all the points that you need from that too. So almost what I didn't like about it was almost what really made it that much more enjoyable.
Yeah, that's funny.
For the next time I play, because now I can be like, I don't really necessarily have to worry about what you're doing other than what you're putting out into clearing, and just enjoy it. It really is quite an enjoyable game.
Forrest Shuffle is a fantastic game. Steve, what have you brought for us to enjoy through our playthrough of Forrest Shuffle?
So the name is Forrest Shuffle. I thought I would do a little bit of a play on words and do Old Forester. So this is the Old Forester 1910. So kind of the story that goes along with this particular expression from Old Forester, which is actually Brown-Forman from their distillery, is that in 1910, October of 1910, there was a fire on the bottling line, but they had matured whiskey all ready to go. So they're like, well, what are we going to do with this matured whiskey that we were just about to bottle?
Wow, yeah.
So they put it back into charred oak barrel. So basically, they were the pioneers, because of that fire, of a double oaked.
Really?
Or double barreled.
That's incredible.
Which is pretty cool. So back in 1910, which is almost like a pretty normal practice nowadays. If you want to just kind of get that double oaked, sometimes people are doing 4 times oaked and all that kind of stuff now today. But they were really kind of the pioneers of it, which is really quite interesting.
Awesome. Well, how about we go back to the bottle crack and let's get this bottle open.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a
really good.
good pop.
Wow.
Do it again. Do it again.
It was like an echoey pop.
I want to see if it.
Yeah.
It's even closer. That was great.
Let's do it again.
Okay, but for a bottle crack, that pop was phenomenal.
That was really good. Wow.
Okay, let's get this in.
Right.
Let's get this in here. Ooh, check out the color.
Yeah, just totally a bourbon.
I love the nose on that.
It's kind of funny because their whole thing is about like basically double charred, and it's like you can really pull that out of there, especially with the nose. Lots of oaky. So as you heard, like some of those, the things that we got from the original nose and even the flavors from it are all because of the way that they still produce this. So obviously there's not a fire at the bottling line every single time. So now they just take the original bourbon that they've used and and they put it into a secondary barrel, which, funny enough, they can't call it bourbon at that point because bourbon has to be finished in one single barrel. But now they call it Old Fine Whisky. So it's called Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. And it really does just add to those really rich flavors that you get from it. Because you still get a lot of the caramels and so on from the bourbon. But you're getting a little bit of spice at the end as well. And that's really because it's pulling out the tannins, it's pulling out all that awesome stuff from the barrel, which is really quite cool. And it's kind of funny because it's only 93 proof, which we're actually quite used to drinking quite a bit higher than that. But it still really retains a lot of the flavors from it. What did you think?
I quite enjoy this, and I don't know how to describe the flavor of toasted, but you can definitely tell it tastes toasted. And it is those kind of spices, a little bit of char in there that you're getting, and I really, really enjoy this drink.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
It's really cool. A lot of whiskey companies, once they get to a certain point, another large company comes in, they purchase them. And what's really kind of cool about this is that Brown family, so now we're into the 5th generation. So the original startup who started the company was George Brown. And he started up with a guy whose last name was Forrester, which is kind of cool. So they kept that as well. Now we're into the 5th generation, Campbell Brown, and he runs Brown-Forman.
That's awesome.
Which is really quite interesting. I own like a family-owned business, so that means a lot to me. So someone else hasn't been able to take over and just monopolize and just own every little bit on Whiskey Row. And you can actually go down to the Brown-Forman distillery, which is still in Louisville, Kentucky, on Whiskey Row, and just really enjoy something pretty cool and unique. And they have a whole line. This is the Whiskey Row Series 1910 Old Fine Whisky. Really, really good. I picked it because of the name, Forrest. So Forrester, right? So, but I think it really goes so nicely with this game because it's a little bit fast paced, but you're also once you kind of start getting into it, it's like I've got this beautiful little forest in front of me that I've created, which is really quite
It's
cool.
pretty awesome. And the artwork on all these cards is fantastic as well. So you mentioned a pretty amazing whiskey. We've got a pretty amazing game here
think
as
so.
well.
Yeah.
And today we've learned a very valuable lesson.
Less, I think we have.
And that is, if you're going to play the 2 to 5 player game, Forrest Shuffle, you want to pair it with
Ooh, Old Forester Whiskey Row Series 1910 Old Fine Whiskey. Beautiful stuff.
My name is Les,
And I'm Steve.
and this is Tabletop Tastings.
That it is.
Have a great day.
Yeah. I want the experience of putting stuff in my cave, though.
Well, I mean, there's not a lot of cards that allow you to do that. There's the bear and the raccoon were the only ones we came across.
I just like holes. That's all there is to it.
Well, sure.